Okay, for this tutorial, this is such a cool picture that I found on Unsplash of this guitar from this unique angle. So I'm doing something a little different this time. I just painted the background with some Winsor & Newton ivory black, just a very rough, you can see there's lots of texture there. I don't really care. It's going to be interesting what I do next. So what I am going to do next is use some blue tracing paper here, not tracing paper, but carbon paper, graphite paper, and trace the main lines here, and then use some white gouache, maybe some bling, some metallic watercolor to add the highlights. Most of this is black, so that's why I started with black first, and then now I'm going to add the strings and then some of the darker values here for the frets. I think that's what it's called. I'm not a guitar player. Actually, I do play bass guitar a little bit, but I don't know much about it. So this should be fairly simple because we're just going to add some of the lighter values. Okay, now it is white gouache time. So I got this white titanium white gouache from Da Vinci. Their prices are really good and the tubes that they have are really large. So this is going to last a very long time. So I've got my outline with the blue graphite paper. I wished I'd had the white graphite paper. That would have been a little easier to see. It's probably hard for you to see because of the bright light. If I turn it off, can you see it a little bit better? No, not really. Okay, so I'm just going to get started with adding some of the white gouache here and on this fretboard. I think it's called fretboard. So I've got my white gouache in a little dish here. Add a little water. Well, this is interesting. Painting this over black. I think this is going to end up being really kind of cool. Now to get in between the fret things, whatever those things are called. I'm just going to go all the way across, and I will let my strings go over that when it's dry. I think that's the best way of doing it. Now I'm going to avoid the dark value there, the shadow of that fretboard. I'm just looking at the reference photo and trying to put the white, the midtone values where they belong. There's a pretty significant white along in here. Just gonna kind of blend that into the black hole there. There's a little white highlight over here. It's part of the, I don't know what that section is called of a guitar, the hole where the strings go across. I should probably do a little more research. So I'm just going to do a small, just a little bit of highlight here, right there. I don't even know if you can see it with this bright light. And I'm going to take a damp brush and just kind of make it go away to hardly nothing. It just needs a little light there. This is so interesting. Not quite sure it looks like a guitar, but let's see if we look at it from this way. Yeah, once we add the strings, I think it will look like a guitar. Okay, so let's let this white dry.
Big pockets out there.
Oh,
I'm sorry, were you recording?
no.
When you're recording, you need to
I know.
put a sign out there. He's on
Let me see.
them over there. You can see
Oh,
him
that's
really
where
good
he-
downstairs.
Let me go downstairs. That's where he was the other day.
Yeah, put a sign here on the door that says quiet. I never know. I'll just come in and start talking.
I'm usually talking nonstop when I record. Okay, it's dry, but this needs to be a darker value as well. When you look at the reference photo, there is just really a lot of dark values. So I'm going to try to darken these values here. Kind of damp brush and let this kind of fade in. Just gonna pour this on here, whatever's left. Still needs some more. Okay, I'm going to take some pretty concentrated paint here. Lots of pigment, less water, and do these little fret things. This may not look like a guitar, but we can call it an abstract guitar. Put abstract in front of it, and it doesn't matter how it turns out. I think it's kind of looking like a guitar. I'm afraid to show it to my husband. He does play guitar, and he would probably be appalled. Okay, let's let this dry. And then I'm going to add the strings, and I'm going to call it done, no matter what it looks like. Okay, it's dry, so I'm got this gel pen here to do the strings, and I'm using a ruler. I can barely see some of the lines for the strings, so I'm just going to lightly take this pen here carefully lift this up. See the other lines. Very difficult to see. And I can't really see them too well. So I'm just going to do the two outer ones and then work my way across. This is off the painting way over here, so that's why these lines are crossing. Trying to find all the lines here. Making sure I don't do 7 strings. I think this is where 1 should be. There is a much simpler way to do this. Get black paper and get some white or blue carbon paper, graphite paper, and trace it. Use some white gouache or any kind of thing except what I'm doing here. Okay, we need 2 more. They're probably not spaced accurately, but it's as good as I can do it right here. Okay, we've got guitar strings. Now I'm going to get some blingy metallic paint and go over these lines. Okay, I've got some metallic paint here. I think the color name is Shimmering Snow. It's by Lisa Linka. Beautiful metallic paints. Quite expensive, but honestly I think they're worth it because they're so high quality. So I've got it mixed up here, and I'm going to try to go along my line without using a ruler. I got one. I'll probably use some water to kind of take away some of the white down here. Because if you look at the reference photo, it's pretty dark right here. So we'll see. Okay, let's see what I can do about this down here. Taking some of this away. I think that will, that's lifting up some of the dark below. So let's just add more dark. Kind of go over those lines, mixing up more ivory black. Just looking at the reference photo and seeing how far this dark goes in. It goes in pretty far. I'm going to let this dry and see what I think. I think without the bright lights on it and taking a picture of it in daylight, natural light, this will look a lot better. And it might even look better in the pitch dark. Okay, I'm calling this done. I've got a mat over it. I think in natural light, without these bright lights, it will look a lot better and less splotchy. This was interesting. I'm not calling it a failure because there are no failures. I learned a lot about this. So if you want to do this and do it a lot better than me, get some black watercolor paper, trace the outline over it, and just use some metallic paints or white gouache or pastel pencils, anything that you want to use to make it look like a guitar. The important part is the values. You see the frets here, they actually do kind of look like frets. I'm not going to show this to my husband today because he will probably laugh and say, well, the guitar strings aren't evenly spaced. Well, no, they're not. But this is the guitar I made, and it looks like a guitar to me. So I hope you found this enjoyable, or at least humorous, and I look forward to see how you do this so much better than me. Thank you again.